Happy New Year! I'm Karin skacel. I'm here today on behalf of Makers Mercantile to give you a little rundown about what's in our newsletter. And I noticed you didn't hear me say, oh, top 5 things. Well, you know what? We're gonna switch it up a little bit this year. So today I'm gonna give you a rundown. And what we have in today, in today's newsletter is a way for everybody to learn something new this year. So if you are just a beginning knitter, so this is predominantly for knitters, actually it is for knitters. If you are a new knitter and you want to hone in on more knitting skills, you want to get better at what you're doing, we have a perfect offer for you. And that is this. It's called Building Blocks. This is a book that was written by Michelle Hunter for people to learn how to knit more proficiently. And it's called Building Blocks because it's based off of 12 blocks. For the very first block, you do need to know how to cast on, do a knit stitch, a purl stitch, and bind off. Now, if you don't know how to do any of those, Michelle Hunter does have tutorials on those as well. But as you go through your book, with every single block, you're gonna learn something new. And each time you learn something new, on the Knit Purl Hunter website, which is Michelle Hunter's website, you are going to find a tutorial on how to do it. So basically what you can do is go at your own pace. Now it is 12 blocks, and so the thought was that you do 1 block a month, but if you are an, I don't want to say overachiever, but if you just like to achieve more in a shorter amount of time, then of course you can do it a lot quicker. When we first were test knitting for this book, I think it was back in 2012, might have been earlier than that, might have been like 2010. Anyways, I know I was on a trip with Vogue Knitting Live in Europe, and I was trying to get a block done a day because I had exactly 14 days to knit the whole blanket. So it can be done, and you know why? Because it is knit on this fabulous yarn called Simply Worsted. So this is HiKoo Simply Worsted, and for those of you who have been watching these videos, you've probably heard me speak about HiKoo Simply Worsted before, but Simply Worsted is what we call workhorse of a yarn because it is machine wash, tumble dry, lasts forever, yet it's really, really soft, feels really good against the skin. And the contents of this yarn are actually, I think it's 55% merino superwash. Look, I'm reading the label. 28% acrylic and 17% nylon. So it's the acrylic and the nylon that holds it together really well, and the acrylic actually does help with the washability and so on. And then of course the merino is a superwash, and that's where you get the vast majority of your softness from. Now Simply Worsted comes on a 100-gram hank. It has 140 yards to the 100-gram hank. So 1 hank is going to make 1 square. And for instance, your first square, and look at this one, sort of, it's been hanging up like this for a long time. So it's a little whacked out of shape. If we were to wash it and put it in the dryer, it would go right back into shape. That's one of the really nice things about Simply Worsted. But look at this one. This is, I believe, square 1, and you can see the stitch pattern on there. It is a very basic stitch pattern that teaches you how to alternate between knit and purl stitches efficiently. And once you have done this square, it just goes on progressively. Here's one of the further squares. Oh, let's do this one here. There's a beautiful cabled square, so you can learn how to do your cables. Then you might want to combine cables with little tiny eyelets. That is a really great introduction to lace knitting. And then if you take it one step further, you can learn how to make baubles. Look at these great baubles. Now, people are, people either love baubles or they hate baubles. I'm a lover. I love baubles because I love the way they look. They do take a little bit more time, so I wouldn't want a whole piece covered in baubles, but this is just the right amount. So all of these will be squares after they're washed and tumble dried again. They've just been hanging up like this, but you're going to make a total of 12 squares out of this book, and when you're finished, Michelle has instructions on how to sew them together to make 1 big blanket, and then how to put an edge around the blanket. Now, if you don't want 1 big blanket, you could make 2 smaller blankets with 6 squares each. You can do whatever you want, but it does make a really, really nice throw for your couch if you use all 12 squares. So you can do this in many different ways. You can do a solid color, and I don't have a finished one on me here, but this is the solid color. It's on the back of the book. I'm not sure, it might be too shiny for you to see. If it is, sorry about that. But you could use just one solid color, and then you'd want to buy 12 hanks. Now you could do it out of 10 hanks, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend getting 1 hank per square. That gives you a little extra material, and then you don't have to have any knots on the sides or loose threads that you have to weave in at the end, except for the beginning and the end. So you can also, if you don't want to do a solid color, you could choose a lot of different tones. You know, Simplicity has like 60 colors or 50 colors. So you could use, like this one here would be a beautiful tonal blanket that you could use. You could do your school colors. If you, let's say you're a Washington State Cougars fan, you've got Cougars colors. With Simpliworsted, they have just about every single color that would be for a major league team, and that means probably your minor league or your high school team or even junior high team, whatever it is, they're probably going to be included in there too. So you have lots and lots of different color options. And we're going to make this a really good event for you to either gift to somebody or for yourself. So what we're doing is we're putting, first of all, Simpliworsted on sale, 20% off. This is just going to be through this Friday, and that happens to be January 7th. We're in January. We're in January. Wow. Okay. So that will be through January 7th. So 20% off the Simpliworsted through January 7th. And if you purchase 12 hanks, we're going to gift you this book for free, which is the Building Blocks book, and that is a $20 value. And then we're also going to gift you a addi square needle, the skacel rocket squared needle in a US 10 24-inch, which is what you will want to be using to make this blanket. So there you go. Purchase the 12 hanks at 20% off and get the free book and the needle. What a great way to start the year. Then you have 12 little projects that you can accomplish. Even if you have mastered all these skills, it's still a fun thing to do. You could do all your squares in one type of square or alternate your squares. And if there's something that you haven't learned, like I said, there's tutorials. So there you go. That's our deal for the week. I do want to tell you a little bit more about Michelle Hunter though, because if these two books are if this book, if you think that's, too simple for you, she does take it one step further. She has her Building in Color book, and that is this one here. And in here she uses HiKoo Simplicity yarn, which is basically the same as the Simpliworsted, except in a DK weight. And here you can see this is one of the blankets that she makes out of this book. So in here, rather than doing squares, she actually does strips. And so you could actually make yourself 10 different scarves if you wanted to too. But this takes color work to an all new level, and you learn all different kinds of color work. Oh, I'm holding up the wrong book. It takes, oh no, I'm not. I am holding up the right book. It takes color work to a whole new level. And then if you want to take your lace to a whole new level, she also has this book, and this is called Building with Lace. And in this book, she creates an extremely long, gorgeous shawl, which you can see here, and she uses HiKoo Riley to do that. And once more, you start with very, very simple lace and you end up with a more complex lace. So you're learning every single step of the way, and always with tutorials. And if you have never seen the tutorials on the Knit Pearl Hunter site, I suggest to go to the Knit Pearl Hunter site. It's knitpearlhunter.com, and I'm pretty sure it is knitpearlhunter.com, and she has fantastic tutorials there. But for learning purposes, one of these 3 books is great. And remember, it's only now through Friday that you're going to save your 20% off the Simpliworsted. You're going to get your book for free and your needle for free if you purchase 12 hanks. So that is our special of today. Now, I do want to mention that today at 5 p.m., if it's not too late for you, if you're watching this afterwards, sorry, we do have our knit night, and it is going to be hosted by Kyle tonight. And I'm sure Kyle always has something up his sleeve. We don't have a guest speaker, but Kyle is always entertaining, and I know he has a lot of questions for you. So if you would like to, have a little say in what happens this year with Makers Mercantile, join us tonight at 5 p.m. There is actually the Zoom code, password, login, all that information is in the newsletter. So just read on down and you will find it there. Other than that, that is all that I have to say today. For all you locals, I just want to let you know, last week, because of the snow, we were unable to have our final week. We just couldn't get the people in to work the shop. Well, this week we are open for our final week, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, every single day. And yes, we do have some in-store specials going on. And I'm sorry for all of you who are ordering online. Some of the items just too big to ship and things like that. So ladies, gents, if you're in the area, come by sometime this week. Please do say farewell to us. It's very hard for us to do this and close the store down, but we've got to do it. And you know what? We don't know what the next few years will bring. We're hoping that we're not going to be throwing around viruses left and right for the next few years, that at some point we will actually get this all regulated so that we can go on with our lives in a somewhat normal way, maybe the new normal. Anyways, that is it for today. I will talk to you again on Friday. In the meantime, be safe, enjoy yourself, be a little creative. Ciao.